guys, it's me, Dr. B. Welcome back. It has been a hot minute. I'm so sorry. Life got kind of busy and kind of crazy, and then I went on vacation, and now I'm here. In today's video, I want to go over my September TBR. Okay, and I read 6 books this month, so 2 of them are not here. These are the physical books I read, and the other 2 are audiobooks. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first book that I read this month, well, in September, was Layla by Colleen Hoover. And this book was really good. I gave this book 4 stars, and without spoiling it too much, it is a romance, but it's kind of a spooky romance. If I say the word, it starts with a P, it'll kind of give it away that it's this kind of romance, and then it kind of spoils the whole thing. But basically, there's like an accident that happens to Layla. Well, it also kind of happens to Leeds as well. He's like the main character, the guy. And the book kind of just shifts between these perspectives of what's going on currently and then like what's led up to currently. But this is definitely something that should be on your October TBR if it's not already. Definitely sets the vibes for spooky season. And then the next book that I read this month was kind of like a pact that my book club group kind of put together. So in an effort to get through our book of the month books, we have like a little channel that basically says, hey, like what book are you gonna read this month that's from book of the month? And it doesn't have to be like the current month, it can be past months. So I got this book June. This was a June pick. And I was like, this seems like a good book. Everyone else was starting to read it that's in the book group. And I was like, oh, I'll read it too. So it's Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. And this book was really, really good. So I gave this book a 4.5 stars. It is a really good mystery book. It starts out with this woman named Paris Peralta, at least that's how I say it in my mind. She's charged with the death of her husband, who's like this really, really rich guy. And so the book goes through trying to figure out who actually did it. And Paris is trying to basically convince, she's not really trying too hard, but she's trying to clear her name. And we go through this whole story of what happens to Paris along the way, and in the end obviously you find out who did it. So this one definitely was a really good read for setting the spooky vibes getting into October. This was the first book that I finished while I was at the beach, so I'd say most of these books I didn't actually get to until I was at the beach on vacation. I went to Bethany Beach in Delaware for a week with my partner's family. So like leading up to that vacation, which was in the middle of September, I was kind of slowly reading stuff. I think I was like taking my time reading Layla, and actually I took like a week break before I even got into Layla. And so I feel like I didn't read that much this month. I just kind of got really busy, like work took off, and then I started teaching again. So like fall semester started. So life just kind of got hectic. While I was driving to the beach, I actually listened to an audiobook called Chef's Kiss, and I gave that book a 2 stars. So here's why. It really wasn't my favorite book. So it's an LGBTQ friendly book. It kind of has like this main character who she identifies as bi, and then later on she meets like a kitchen manager there's a kitchen manager that comes in, and they are transitioning from female to, they didn't really clarify that. So they didn't really say that they were transitioning from female to male. They just said they were transitioning, and instead of going by she, her pronouns, they went by they, them. And then the book kind of talks a little bit about some co-workers who were kind of like homophobic, and they kept wanting to call the person, I think the other main character, her name was Ray, but they kept calling her she, and the other main character of the book, she was like, they don't go by she, they go by they, like stop messing it up, and they kind of had this whole lawsuit thing. But it was like only all right. It wasn't like a terrible book. I didn't connect. It's not that I didn't connect, it's that I felt like there was no chemistry between the characters. Like, it was sort of a romancy kind of book. It just didn't do it for me. But to each their own. Like, I'm sure somebody thought this book was 5 stars, and I'm sure there's other people who thought it was like 0 stars. But I thought it was just all right, so I gave it 2 stars. So that's one book that I finished while I was at the beach, or going to the beach, and I kind of like finished it throughout the week as I was like getting ready and stuff to go out and things like that. But then I stumbled upon the Bethany Beach bookstore. Shout out to Bethany Beach bookstore. And it is like super cute. I'll try to put like a picture here, but like it's a super cute bookstore for the locals. They have lots of really new up and coming books. I try to get some footage without like actually being all up in everybody's grill and like putting everybody else on the camera and everything like that. But I picked up a Colleen Hoover book that I have been seeing, and then I hear a lot about it, and I don't know, I just was like, I want to buy a book. So I bought Confess by Colleen Hoover, and this might be my favorite Colleen Hoover book. So let me just this is some spoilers. So if you don't want to see spoilers, just skip on past. So in the book, there are these glossy pages that have beautiful artwork that's supposed to be done by the main guy character, Owen. And on the back here, it just kind of has like a confession. So the whole premise behind it is that he receives these confessions and then he kind of paints based on that inspiration. So these are some of the pictures that he's painted. And I found out that there's actually a TV show associated with this called Confess, and it's on Amazon Prime. And I'm a couple episodes in, but it's pretty much like spot on with the book. It really helps kind of like bring the characters to life. But this book, oh my gosh, like Owen is, oh my God, he's a book boyfriend. He's great. He is definitely ride or die. Let's just say that. So if you didn't know, this book is really just about Auburn and Owen and their whole story. Auburn has this kind of like background that you find out a little bit in the first chapter, like the prologue. And then it kind of wraps up really nicely at the very end. But she essentially can't like make any mistakes, or she doesn't get the things that she needs from somebody. I can't really spoil anything. And that somebody is kind of a B word. There's 2 somebodies who are kind of really crappy people. But Owen is like this artist who comes in and he like pretty much charms her, and they get to know each other. He has his own secrets that he essentially needs to confess. Like, this is kind of like what's on the back of the book. But it's such a beautiful book. I gave this 5 stars. So, favorite Colleen Hoover book. If you have not read it, please go read it. Then on the way back from the beach, like going home, I listened to an audiobook called Bet on It. But that book I gave 3.75 stars. It's really spicy. It follows these 2 characters. There's one who's a black girl. Her name's Asia. And then there's a white guy. I'm totally blanking on his name right now. Walker. I think it's Asia and Walker. And so Asia has like just moved to this area. I want to say it's somewhere in Maryland, like Baltimore area. Greenbelt, I think is what it is. But she just moved to the area and she's like trying to find her footing. And Walker he's like from the area, but he's just visiting his grandma. And he has some like past, crap baggage going on. And Asia kind of like pulls this out, and they like are very attracted to each other, and they kind of make a bet that like, hey, we can only, do the dirty when one of us wins bingo. So there's like all this pent up sexual tension. It's kind of a smutty read. Definitely very spicy. I would say there were some scenes that I was like, yeah, this is really good. Like, yeah. So if you kind of want like a spicy little romance, bet on it. That's a pretty solid book to read. Not like the most amazing book in the world, but also not really bad either. The last book that I finished in September is The X-Hex by Erin Sterling. And this book I gave 3 stars. So basically it's about Vivian Jones, or Vivi for short, who 9 years ago, she puts a hex on her boyfriend. And so like 9 years passes by and like they don't even think anything of it until her ex, Reese, I think that's how you say it, Reese Penhallow, Rhys. I always got so confused in my head when I was reading the book because I was like, Reese, Rise. I didn't know how to say his name, but I asked several people and they're like, I'd say that as Reese. I didn't know. So anyways, Reese comes back to town because he's got to charge the ley lines. He's a warlock of sorts as well, and Vivi's a witch. And when he comes to town, all this crazy stuff happens to him, and the thing is because of the curse or the hex. And so they pretty much go through the whole book trying to unhex him. And you know, along the way, there's a little romance involved. They were always attracted to each other. There's like a whole reason why they didn't actually have a relationship together. But yeah, so this book, 3 stars. I also picked up the Kiss Curse, which is the next book. And I think that one focuses on Vivi's cousin, Gwen, and her relationship with one of Reese's brothers. But I will probably get to that sometime in October, which is this month. But yeah, so those are all the books that I read this month. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the books that I read this month, if any of them were ones that you agree or you disagree with. Let me know what you'd like to see for October. I don't think I'm gonna put together a TBR list because I feel like I didn't stick to any of my TBR list from September. I'll put like a little picture on the screen. But like I didn't stick to any of it. I don't think I read one book from my September TBR. But so for October, I have some books that I have on my list, like some hopefuls, and I hope to get to them, but more so for the fall. I think I want to try to do like mood reading. Like right now, I have read a couple of romances, and I started out October with a mystery. No, it was more like a thriller horror kind of book, but now I kind of want to get into fantasy. So like, I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I have like a big old selection of books that I want to read. Let me know if there's anything that you think I should read. You know, I'm trying to read my Kindle more. So if there's like something on Kindle Unlimited, let me know, tell me. I will put it on there. I have some really good stuff lined up that I'm really excited to read, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.